Hello, everyone. Today we're going to be talking about the shape tool. The shape tool in Photoshop allows you to create different shapes. This is useful as, by default, shapes are created as vectors, or infinitely scalable objects that are defined by points rather than pixels. Shapes can also be used as decorative objects, or to illustrate usable designs such as clickable buttons or text containers as part of a greater design. So let's get into our assignment. First, create a new document. This document should be 1080 pixels tall and the same amount wide and have a resolution of 72 ppi. These are the dimensions for a standard Instagram post. Let's take a look at the various shape tools available to us. You can find the shape tool in the bottom part of the toolbox, or by using the keyboard shortcut U. Most of these create the described shapes, but there are additional options for several of the tools to note. The rectangle tool draws a rectangle or square. The ellipse tool draws an ellipse or circle. The triangle tool does exactly what it says. It draws a triangle. The polygon tool draws a polygon. The amount of sides of this polygon can be adjusted in the top options bar, the properties panel, or in the create shape dialog. The star tool draws a star. The amount of points and distance between the inner and outer points can be adjusted in the top options bar, properties panel, or the create shape dialog. The line tool creates a line. And then we have the custom shape tool, which creates a custom shape based on various default or imported shapes. By default, this contains shapes of wild animals, trees, boats, and flowers. Corners of most shapes can be rounded either by adjusting the white circle anchors in the inside corners of the shape or by adjusting the corner radius parameter in the top options bar or properties panel. You can create shapes by simply selecting the appropriate shape tool and then clicking and dragging on the canvas. If you hold shift, it will maintain perfect symmetry. The rectangle tool will make a square, the ellipse tool will make a circle, and etc. If you hold alt, you will draw from the center out. If you hold alt and shift at the same time, you will achieve both of these effects at the same time. However, many shapes have various options you can only find in the properties panel above the layers panel, or by doing a single click on the canvas to bring up the create shape dialog box. Stars, for example, default to a 5-pointed star with an outer radius and inner radius that make it look like a fairly standard 5-pointed star like the stars on the United States flag. But if you change these settings to have 20 points with an outer radius and inner radius that have like around a 10 pixel difference, you can create a star that looks like an award seal you might see on a product packaging. I really encourage you to explore these different options and see what different shapes you can make outside of the defaults. Now, let's take a look at the options bar for the shape tool. From left to right, these options are the tool settings. This allows you to select different default appearances for your chosen shape. Then we have the tool mode. This allows you to select from 3 different options of how you want the shapes to be created. Shape, or vector, allows for infinitely scalable shapes that can have their appearance managed by the properties menu. This is the option you should select a majority of the time. Path is also a vector mode and allows you to edit your shape with a direct selection tool, which uses the keyboard shortcut of A. You can then convert this path into a selection or shape using the options in the top options bar. Pixel creates a raster shape on the current layer. These cannot be edited using the shape tool after being created, but they can be edited using other tools such as selections or the brush tool, while shape or path shapes will have to be converted to a pixel shape in order to be edited by those tools. Next, we have fill, which controls what you wish to fill your shape with. You can select from transparent, which looks like a white with a red line through it, also solid colors, gradients, and patterns. Stroke controls what you wish to outline your shape with. Similar to fill, you can select from transparent, solid colors, gradients, and patterns. Inside the stroke menu, you can also see the stroke size, which is the width or size of the stroke. And then we also have the stroke options. This allows you to control the pattern of your stroke, the stroke alignment, whether you want caps on either end of a stroke, and how you want the corners rendered. If you select more options at the bottom of the dialog, you can edit all of these as well as create custom dashed lines. Very useful, especially for the line shape tool. Shape size controls the width and height of the shape. Clicking the chain icon between the width and height text boxes will allow you to resize the shape proportionally. Path operations opens up a list of ways to combine two or more shapes into a larger or more complex shape. We have new layer, which is the default setting. When you create a new shape, it creates it as a new layer. Combine shapes will, when you're creating a new shape, it will add it to the current shape layer. Subtract front shape, it means creating a new shape removes it from the shape below it. Intersect shape areas means that creating a new shape creates a sort of Venn diagram of the two shapes, making any shared shape visible while removing the rest. Exclude overlapping shapes does pretty much the opposite of intersect, makes any shared shape invisible while revealing the other parts of the shape. Merge shape components converts the previous operations into a regular path, able to be edited by the direct selection tool or other path modifying tools. Path alignment opens all the ways to align or distribute multiple shapes. The Align To option at the bottom lets you switch between aligning shapes to a selection or to the canvas. Path arrangement holds commands for moving the selected shape above or below the other shapes that it's combined with, similar to moving layers above or below each other in the Layers panel. This is really well used with the various path operations we just talked about. If you notice, there was like subtract front shape. Using these path arrangement, you can then define what is the front shape. Path options allows you to change how the edge of shapes or paths render on your screen. This doesn't affect how these shapes might look when rasterized, such as when printing or saving as a JPEG. This is simply an accessibility tool in case you find it difficult to see the edges of paths in Photoshop. This can be really useful if you're working with transparent shapes that you're using to more define areas mentally rather than like actually making them present on screen. Then we have corner radius. This allows you to set the roundness of the shape's corners before you draw the shape by entering a value in pixels. Lastly, we have align edges. This aligns the edges of your shape to Photoshop's pixel grid. Aligning the edges to the pixel grid keeps the shape's edges looking sharp. So in most cases, you'll want to leave align edges checked. Shapes exist as layers and thus can be controlled by layers. You can transform them using the Move tool or via Edit and into Transform Path. You can apply blending modes to them, change their opacity. You can even add text to shapes, treating the shape like a text box. So let's get into our assignment. In this document that we've created, I want you to create at least 5 different shapes. Use the Transform tool, blending modes, and different colors to create an interesting, if abstract, composition of these shapes. Feel free to do as much or as little as you want. If you like the look of the shapes without any blending modes, adjustment layers, or anything else, feel free to stick with what you have. Then I want you to create a rectangle in the bottom right-hand corner of the document. Then in the rectangle, use the Type tool to add Learn More. Try to arrange the text in rectangle to create a button like the example below. Feel free to adjust the corner radius to be round, soft, or sharp to your liking. As a side note, if you're feeling as though you have no idea what colors to use in something like this, I tend to browse through the trending patterns in coolors.co. I can save palettes and then bring them into my document and pull the colors from them to have an interesting color palette without getting frustrated with my inability to find colors sometimes. Now, to submit this assignment, we're going to follow the same thing that we've been doing this entire semester so far, which is name your file with your first name, last name, and then shapesassignment.psd. For example, mine would be Susie Crane shapesassignment.psd. Then I want you to place this in your assignments folder inside your AVC 177 Google Drive folder. Once you have it in that assignments folder, I want you to copy a link to the file or to your folder and then paste it into this assignment text box. Once you have this link in the assignment text box, click submit and you're done with this assignment. I hope that you feel that you have a really good understanding of shapes now. As always, if you have any questions or comments, you're more than welcome to message me on Canvas, and I will see you for the next assignment. Have a great day until then.